And off we go. So we're recording now. This is the 7 classes to clearing the way to creating your success. So let's get into it. So this is a Christmas gift. It was just an idea to do it. I'm hoping you're getting a lot from it leading up to Christmas, and it's designed to weed out the toxic emotions and feelings that you may have right now getting in the way of you creating a business and you know what I'm about. All importantly, a life that you love to look at. So we're going to rewire you for success. Okay. So these are the steps. So most of you should have done vision. Vision is having a really clear picture. We did a couple of runs on that to make sure the picture was big enough. Then we got desire, where we really, really feel into it and really, really want it. And today we're doing belief. Now, a lot of the mindset people, a lot of the energy kind of workers really just kind of go a lot into belief. It's all about limiting beliefs, that. But as you can see, it's only one of the 7 steps. It's only a small piece of it, a very important piece, but it's not the whole picture. So we're going to go through all these 7 steps to make sure you've got the full picture of the whole thing. Okay, so these are the steps. So let's just go through, and why we keep repeating it is because it gets into your brain when we keep repeating it. Just repetition, you're going to be really patterning this into your thinking. Go, have I got all the steps? So step 1 is you need a clear picture of what it is that you want to achieve. You must have a strong desire for it. You have to have the belief that it's possible. So this is what we're working on today. You have to completely believe that it's possible. We've got a little trick for that. You must accept yourself and your new belief is true. So you have to, that's what we're doing on Monday. You have to completely, and often it's about sort of accepting yourself here. So it gets into a bit of a self-love area. You must intend to manifest it with all your willpower, your focus, and your conscious choice. And you must behave if it's already been created and that it already exists in your present. So a lot of people forget this piece. They just keep digging in. Oh, I've got to clear some more blocks, Jen. I've got to clear some more blocks. No, actually, you've got to behave like it's already happened. This is the piece that you've got to do. And the beautiful one at the end, which is the most favorite one, and this is the one that I talk about that's often the hardest to do, you've got to just let it go. That doesn't mean to say you let go your willpower. You just let go this big, hoary attachment to it. You've got to surrender everything about it, have no expectations about how it will come together. And you've just basically got to let the universe take care of the details. Now, you've all heard that. People are throwing that statement around. There's another way you can look at it that's a little bit less woo-woo for you if you're feeling like, well, that doesn't work. I've got to get cracking. Yes, you do need to get cracking, and that's the intensity without the expectation. So you're still going to put the heat on it, but you're not going to be holding onto it with such tight hands, if that makes sense. Like, it has to happen this way. Oh my God, that hasn't happened that way. So you're going to have the same intensity to do the work and create the outcome without the expectation. That is an art. This is the piece, is probably the piece that is hardest for everyone. That is the biggest art. So now that you have a clear vision and you're fully connecting to the desire of that vision, let's move into belief. Who's drawing on the screen? Is that someone drawing on the screen? Is that me? Is that somebody? It's funny. It's bleeding. Okay, so belief isn't just about taking it a step further. It's knowing you believe it can happen for you. You have to believe you deserve it. You have to know and believe you can have it. And you have to know and believe you can do it. And you have to know and believe it's possible, even if right now it seems unlikely. Okay, so this is the key. Interestingly, if your vision is feeling unlikely, actually that can be a really good thing. That can be a good thing. We quite like it if it feels a little bit unlikely. It means that you're thinking big enough. Remember, when you're working with this part of your brain, with your, I call it like your creator imagination. Some people see it as connected to God. I do too. Some people, just if you just see it as your creator imagination, if you're not Goddy, do it that way. You are not working with your rational logic ability to produce something right now. So we're going to wipe out this whole logic thing about it. We're working with a completely different part of the imagination and the brain. So you can use that part of your brain when the vision starts getting up and running. You need the mechanical part of you, the mechanic in you, to sort out a few of the details. So we're going to leave the mechanic at the workshop down the road, and we're just going to get out almost like our pens and pencils, and we're just going to draw like from a whole different space. So we're going to keep that filed away. Does that all make sense to you guys so far? You're getting that about this is going to be great. We're going to just get logic out of this one. So when you're working with this God-given imagination, which is actually your birthright, everybody's got this right to create. Everybody's born with this right to create. Sometimes it just needs to be awoken up in you, or, you know, if you're in a really terrible situation, sometimes you find it later in life, you weren't given the gifts of people around you working in this place where you're allowed to create, you know, so that's very common too. So sometimes there's some healing at the back end of this. So we don't want to limit with our usually very helpful logic. So often really logical, really practical people can kind of get a bit stuck here. So we don't want them to lose. We want them to take all that logic and all that greatness into an imaginative space. So knowing all of this can help you leap into belief. So, you know, you may be thinking, this belief thing's hard. How can I believe in it? It seems a little bit unlikely. But if I've just given you permission that we don't have to work it out, it's easy to leap into this belief place. Okay, we're going to jump off the diving board. We don't have to have flippers on for this. We're going to land in the water and we're still going to be able to swim. So in a way, you're going to believe you can create it without the logic having to agree right now. So this is what we're doing. Okay, just to make sure these logical or negative beliefs aren't lurking somewhere in the back of your brain, let's pull them out now. Let's pull them out now. So I want you to write down 3 logical reasons why it isn't likely to happen or it isn't possible. So just write down 3 big fat reasons, 1, 2, and 3, why it's likely that it's not going to happen. Is it the time of the year? Is it whatever you think it is? Just put it there. Welcome everyone here that I can see. That's great. Okay, anyone want to share? You know, sometimes when we share it, it helps other people. What are the 3 logical reasons that it's likely not going to happen in your mind? Anyone want to share? Put your hand up or just unmute and start talking, and I'll find you on the screen. Okay, Pedro, go. That's good. What have you got there? Can you talk, Pedro? Are you there?
I'll talk.
Yeah.
I can talk.
Okay, you talk, yeah.
So 3 reasons why it can't happen is I can't afford it, I'm not good enough, and I'll be alone.
Awesome. Okay, write them down. That's great. Okay, let's clean this up. So let's do some clearing statements and preparation when these inevitably come up again. So now, once again, I'm actually going to give you permission to not believe it later, because that's just going to put too much pressure on the brain, and so then you're going to play smaller because everything's got to be nicely packaged and you've got to believe in it, and then you're done, you've worked on yourself and how great you are. It's not the way we work, our brains work. So inevitably, you're going to feel that again. So when these logical and fearful thoughts come up to crush the dream, we have already incubated them with this positive program so they don't sneak around, destroy your inspiration. It's like they've been tagged. Does that make sense? So we've tagged them, we've incubated them, we've put them in a different part of the brain. We've already sort of said, okay, that's going to come up for sure, but I've already worked on that. So let's do that. So here we go. So if you've unmuted yourself, just mute yourself up again. Otherwise, we're going to hear you. This looks good. Okay, so we're going to do this with the tapping. Now, we're going to do this tapping all the way through. You know, I've got my special tapping technique. It's just the hand on the forehead. There's a video on the website if you want to find out a little bit more about it. And we're tapping down the zip, which is why you'll find I've often got a zip on so I can show you. It's like there's a zip down the front and we're tapping it out of the body. That's the way I do it with you. So how clever are you to do all this at once? So you've got to multitask. You've got to say the statements, just say them once. Normally you'd say them about 3 times. And you'll read your list. Read your 3 things on the list, okay? So let's go for it. I forgive myself on all levels, even if consciously or unconsciously. I believe, and then I am whatever it is or whatever it says. And tap out your 3 things. Okay, and then we do the next one. I forgive myself on all levels, even if consciously or unconsciously, I still believe I am. And if you want to feel it, yeah, I know what I'm like. I'm probably going to do it again. I'm going to feel that 10 o'clock one night when I'm tired. That's what I'm going to think. Or when I look at my bank account, that's what I'm probably going to think that in a month's time or tomorrow. So we're going to say it again, the 3 things you've written down. Okay, and the last time, I forgive myself on all levels, even if consciously or unconsciously, I never stop believing I am, and then breathe. And write them down. Look at what you've written down. Okay, so let's have a look. And because I've got you here, let me just check. Craig, you've got to do number 3 again. Hannah, you've got to do number 2 again, from 2 down. Samsung Galaxy S7, you've got to do the last one again. Okay, whoever's on the Samsung. Okay, so you can do that, maybe do that later. So now being human, we are so enmeshed with each other. As you know, we're so super enmeshed and we're all entwined with our limiting beliefs. So I want you to write down a few people that come to mind that you don't believe in you or this vision in any way, or that it's possible to get that much success easily, because hopefully you've got a pretty amazing, like, bit of a dream thing. So just jot them down. Even if anyone comes to mind, if you think, oh, your logic might go, oh no, they've been really lovely lately or something. If they've come into your mind, just jot them down, because they may have a secret fear that you might not be able to create it. We just want to get all that out of your energy. Okay, we got some people. How does it feel? Let's forgive them, okay? Because they've just been feeding off your energy. If you've been afraid and playing small, then they're just going to have that impression of you. And we just want to clear it out, though, because it's going to block you really getting that lift, because there's that energy around you that's what people think of you. And this is where we grab back our autonomy, our sovereignty, our personal power. And it's quite powerful to just do this now and then. Just think of people that you think don't really get what you're doing, or you feel a bit funny around them, telling them about how well you're doing or anything like that. Just do a little bit of tapping around it. So let's go. I forgive, and then say the people's names on all levels. Even if consciously or unconsciously, they don't believe in my vision. And then you can say, I forgive, and then the people's names on all levels, even if consciously or unconsciously, they still don't believe in my vision. Even after I start to get some success, even when it starts to take off, they might still not believe in you. And just tap. And if you can get the feeling, that's good, because then the nervous system can pick it up and file it. Okay, and the third one, I forgive myself on all levels. Even if consciously or unconsciously, they never stop not believing in my vision. In other words, it's not going to affect you at all. You can still believe in it. Okay, that's good. How'd that feel? Okay, so let's clear up some of the toxic emotions and the brain pathways and the memories holding you back with the little signature thing. So let's do our little clearing of the toxic emotions. So, okay, I've got the word chaotic. So what I'd like you to do, again, we're going to write, because I just think it's a really good way of getting things out of the brain. So we've opened up a bit of a circuit here, so you should be able to find it really easy to just write. I want you to write what's chaotic, who's chaotic, how does it feel chaotic, how have you been chaotic, and just write whatever you can down there. Everyone will have some sort of energy around chaotic. Are the people that you wrote down a bit chaotic, and they keep taking you out of your vision and what you can achieve? That can really happen sometimes if we haven't cleaned it up. You'll start to see your own chaos out in the world, and it'll distract you. Okay, I've got the next emotion's kind of interesting. It's great. Even though that seems positive, why is that a negative for you? Great. Just write down what comes to mind. Have you got a stress around feeling great, or you felt great before and it's been stressful, or people seeing you great is stressful? So just see what comes to mind. Everyone's going to write something different. Do you have a fear around being great? What's coming to mind around the word great? Okay, does anyone feel like sharing what that was about for them? Yeah, go. Just unhook and yeah.
I feel like when I'm doing really great, then people start attacking me, or they start looking at me negatively, when great things happen. So I feel like I need to suppress that great feeling and pretend that, everything's just ordinary and it's all okay, because I just feel like negative vibes from people.
Yeah. And what about chaotic?
Chaotic, I feel like I'm chaotic because I'm trying to manage everyone's negative emotions with positive emotions, and so then I feel like my energy is chaotic.
Yeah, and what I said before about, like you've got this special gift, like you've got this effervescence of a personality that's extraordinary. It's not normal, your level of light that comes out of you. Like it is, you are kind of a really special human being in that way. Everyone is, but this is how everyone can see it. Like for a lot of us, we have it, but people can't instantly see it. So, managing that, how you're seen could be really good for you, like clearing this in your brain that you can kind of let that flow and not go, this is too bright for everyone. This is too bubbly. This is too joyful. Yeah. And also people take you a lot more seriously too, because, you've integrated the fact that you do shine, you're bubbly, you've got this effervescence, you've had it since you're a child, and it's a gift, but it can become a curse too, as you just said, like you try to try to hide it.
Yeah.
But, you know, also the other thing too, you know, Claudia, when you are like that, we all get a lift. Like we smile a little bit more. So, you know, people, when you kind of lift to that next level, I was talking with someone about it the other day. She has it as well. And she gets very seen. She's very attractive. She gets very seen. And so she goes out of her body and kind of feels super self-conscious. So way of getting through that, of being that having that self-consciousness around being so joyful and positive and bubbly, is just slip into your heart. Just feel yourself at the heart level. Just slip your consciousness there. The smile, feel it drop down into the heart, and just see what happens there if you can kind of move through without getting almost like the hits from outside.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks, Jen.
Okay, so anyone else want to share what that could have been for you? Was that helpful to hear that from other people? Yeah, Jim, what have you got?
Hey, Jen, yeah, the word great really immediately for me, and like I hope this doesn't sort of offend you in any way. It's not meant that way. There's thoughts that I have, you know, from you working with me for the last few weeks, and it has lifted me, you know, hugely, and I've been feeling great. But I also wonder if this is some sort of, you know, I guess I worry that for me it's some sort of superficial crutch that, you know, it's kind of like going to a Tony Robbins thing where, you know, you get all pumped and you come away from that and you're going to change the world, and then, you know, and then it kind of all subsides. And there is in the back of my head, you know, that's what's happening to me at the moment.
Yeah, I love that's come up. And again, thanks so much for sharing that. It's similar advice to Claudia too. You've got to integrate your own great. You know, where you can hum it, you can see it's like a humming thing that's going to happen for a long time. And again, it's the same advice. Just sink into the heart and kind of own it. Like a sinking into the heart. But let's clear that too, because, you know, just the process that we use here, because we're working in, we call it the hologram, or that part of you that's connected to everything and every part of you. If we can clear this one thinking, it can kind of change the programming throughout all that other stuff. So yeah, that's a really good pickup. Who else has had that experience of, you know, doing a program, doing something that's very uplifting, a lot of intensity, and then there's the drop? Has anyone else had that? Yeah. So with this, you know, again, I love that it's come up. We've got smart people on the call. So with this, we can actually program however we want this clearing to go. We can, now that that's become into our awareness, we can say, can you incubate this and kind of have a look at it and make sure that I remember that I'm great even after the party. Yeah. There's a part of my humanity that remembers that. Okay, so just mute up if you're unmuted, and let's shift it. Let's shift it into something else. Okay, instead of chaotic, I've got self-expression. I've got the word self-expression. So just write that down. We're going to sort of vibe into what self-expression is for you. And the next word that I've got is awaken. So maybe it's awaken self-expression is going to be the goal for this. So I want you to write down what does self-expression and awaken mean to you? What do you need to awaken? Obviously, for the giant within, for Jim, he's going to awaken his own greatness and stay awake to it, not fall back asleep to it. And you know, setting up the brain pathways for that. And self-expression, what's coming up around self-expression? What can you lean into more with the self-expression? Hopefully it's following on with what we've been talking about, which is the creativity, the imagination. It's a form of self-expression. Okay, anybody want to share what they've got? It's really helpful for everyone to hear what people say. We take it to another level with all these clever people on here. Anybody want to share what that shift is for them? If they could shift into awakened self-expression, what's the first thing that they think of? Just unmute if I can't see you. Linda, are you going to say something?
Yes, thanks, Jen.
Linda lives down the road too, and her
I think I'm the Samsung person.
Oh, you're the Samsung.
Yeah. I had self-expression, no fear around speaking my truth and authenticity. For me, it's awakening. My nickname is actually Bear, and for me, it's awakening that bear energy from the cave. And I also do a lot of channeled song in my healings, and I hear in the back of my thoughts those people who judge me for that. So it's also with that self-expression, that creativity of believing that that is actually okay for me to do.
Yeah, and also, I think I have to say the funny story about Linda, because, I'm a kinesiologist and it's a bit kind of Jedi, and my son came home and he says, my friend's mother's a shaman. I'm very excited by that. So they're kind of like the kids with the woo-woo mums. The other thing too, Linda, is like belonging to a tribe where that's just like normal. If you're in, Facebook groups, or you're hanging out not just locally but also globally with other people that are working with animals and working at that level of shamanism, then you've got that space for self-expression as well. And you can really take your work to the next level, which is great. If you're around people that aren't believing all the time, it's going to wear you down eventually. So you still have to get around the community, but you need to plug in. All of you need to plug in where there's the like-mindedness so you can keep the lift. It's part of our humanity. We need to be around people that are doing similar stuff. So yeah, thanks for that. So we're going to pick that one up. Anyone else want to share something?
Yes, I would like to share, Jen, if that's okay.
Yeah.
Sorry about earlier. I just froze. It's like that deer in the headlights kind of reaction. It's like, oh, she asked me. Sorry about that. So to me, it means finally awakening from not necessarily a nightmare, but having had my light go out, if that makes sense. Being asleep for about a decade or 10 years, where I've lost my path, and just regaining that confidence that I'm able to do what I would like to do, hoping that made sense.
Yeah, and I would love you to just in a couple of sentences or so. Pedro's just got the most phenomenal, deeper work in the world. He's got a huge vision. Can you just give us a quick couple of sentences about the vision, Pedro? Really excited what he's doing.
Yes, thank you. I'm a trained professional chef, and here in America, there's about 40% food waste in the restaurant industry, and I'm working to change that, educating other chefs to respect the planet. Back to you, Jen.
So I'd love to get an investor to pick up Pedro and just run the whole thing out. And, because didn't you say in San Francisco, they're starting to bring in legislation around it. So it's going to get picked up soon. And so if someone invests in it, it could be a really good gig. He's got all the systems and hacks for it, how to kind of order and how to do stuff, and who can pick up the food that's wasted, and really, really lights me up what he's got, what his vision is. So
thank you, Jen.
Yeah. Okay, so here we go. I'm just gonna, if you can just mute up again, whoever's muted, and whoever's not muted. Okay, so let's do this. So just say my goal for this balance is I awaken self-expression. So I want you to close your eyes, and I want you to imagine the goal after healing. I want you to just wake up, like, from the sleep that you've been in, if you've been a bit asleep to your own greatness or whatever it is, and just awakening up the self-expression that actually doesn't need to be logically worked out. It's like a playtime. And just get the sense of that. And then we're going to do this. So you bunch up your fingers like so. If you remember that, I always think, why didn't I do my nails? And we're going to keep your head straight. And we're going to look up at your fingers, and very, very slowly, it's like eye yoga, we're going to bring that round. What that does is it kind of digs out, the eye muscles dig out a bit of blood, a bit of nervous system stuff out of the primitive brain and all different parts of the brain where you might have a bit of stuck thinking on this. So apart from the fact it sends a fresh blood supply, it also sends some stimuli, kind of new neurotransmitters down there to kind of go, hang on, what's stuck behind there? You've been a bit stuck on this. So the more the eye yoga happens, the more you've got a stretch on your eye, the better, because it means we're activating a whole lot of neurotransmitters. Okay, and then we're going to do a timeline on this when you've got that. So we're going to pick 2 ages today. We're going to do 2 ages. So if you're not at this age yet, you're going to think about it. You're going to imagine what it's going to be like to be that age. Okay, so here we go. So conception, birth, conception, birth, birth to 5, 5 to 10, 10 to 15, 10, 11. What's happening at 11 years old for you guys? So you might have had a trauma, you might have been really super imaginative, and everyone said, well, that's not going to work. Who didn't believe in you? What were you like around beliefs? Was there no such thing about believing anything? It was just you get on with it, and you weren't allowed to have something special. Just leave that. I'll leave that with you, and just usually it's the first thing that comes into your mind when we're working at this level. So just write down whatever was happening at 11. Was it a happy time? Was it a sad time? Okay, we're going to pick up another age, 10 to 20, 20, 30, 35, 30, 31, what's happening? If you're not 31, you don't know, we've got the beautiful Hannah, who's got amazing work for millennials. She's like this young leader. She's on the call. So I know that she's not 31. So just what do you see for 31? Or do you have a stress around what that belief could be and what that vision could become around 31 if you're not 31? Otherwise, what was happening? Was there a trauma? Was there a breakup? Did you stop believing in yourself? What happened? Was it to do with one of the people you put down on your list? Did you think you'd be further along than you are now? And so you're wondering if it's worth believing yourself because it, didn't happen before. Is there anything around that? Were you only working in the logical brain and you could only really think about doing something if it felt like it was going to be possible? Okay, once again, does anyone feel confident enough, safe enough that they want to share? Just unmute and start talking, and if you all start talking once, we'll sort that out. Who wants to share? Anybody want to share?
Yeah, Jen, it's Jen Succeeded here. At 11 years old, it was right when I started high school.
Yep.
So I went from, being kind of this, I was kind of that feeling of being a little bit kind of silly, just about having fun and fluffy and not applying myself, had a lot of potential, but was very distractible, needs kind of some serious focus and pull up your socks and buckle down sort of thing. So kind of getting serious now rather than, it was too much focus on having fun.
Yeah. And that's Linda, do you know Jennifer? You're in a similar thing, in a similar place on the beaches. But I know about Jennifer. I've worked with her family, and beautiful, amazing family. Her mother's incredible, really a goddess, I think, her mother, and both her and her sister are amazing, and her brother. And the partners are all divine. But one thing that I know about Jennifer is like she did really well in corporate, and now she's moving out of corporate and trying to do the energy work. She's got real energy gifts. And what if you didn't have to take that seriousness, but you could go back to that niche and really help them? So this is, and we know I've talked about this with you before. It's like this real dilemma thing, isn't it? Of when do you turn on the serious and when are you doing the playful? Because I know you're an innocent archetype too, where
Yes.
it's going to be like childlike, but you're going to go into hardcore A-type environments and take the energy work that you've got. So this is a great one to clear for you. So just remembering we're clearing it at that level too, with the age 11.
Yeah.
Anybody else want to share? Thanks for sharing that. Linda, you should know Jennifer too. You guys should collaborate or see each other. Anybody else want to share anything on that? Okay, let's clear it then. So you've written down some notes about it. So we're gonna do the good old tapping. We're gonna breathing in, thinking about 11. If you want to look at your piece of paper, breathing in and breathing out, and breathing in and breathing out, and in and out, and normal breathing. And just accept, yeah, that's what it was like at 11. That's what it was like for me. The more you feel how bad it was, the better it is, or awkward it was. Remember, what I love about this process is we're not trying to layer band-aids or positivity on stuff. We're just going, oh, that felt really shit. Yeah, that felt really bad. So the brain goes, oh, thank goodness you've recognized that was really bad. Now I can put it away. Now I can let it go. So we go into the bad feeling of it. 31, whatever you had for 31, have another look at the paper. Try and bring up the bad feeling around it. And breathing in and breathing out. Sometimes it's a good feeling too, and we need to take the smartness of that we've forgotten and we need to bring it into the future. So that can sometimes be the case too. So maybe you're really good at something, you forgot you were good at something. Or you were successful then and you're not as successful now. We still tap for it. The brain knows how to put it together. Okay, that's good. Let me just see if anyone needs more tapping. Craig, you need more tapping on 31. Deborah, 31, you need a bit more tapping. Karen, 31, you need a bit more tapping. Maybe you need a bit more writing too. Just write down a couple of other things. Pedro, bit on 11. Can you think up some more stuff around 11 and do a little bit more tapping on 11? Okay, and we'll just do another tap again. Just breathing in and breathing out. And in and out. Okay, so we've got a bit of an attitude to lift here, a bit of a negative attitude. So let's see what that is. 10, 20, 21, 22. Okay, this is an interesting one that's just come up. So we're just going to say it, and you know, just have a feel into it. Part of it might relate to you. You might have to work out what it means to you, and just say, I welcome awareness of my attitudes. Easily and simply, I now release into unconditional love my conditioned tendency towards needing to domineer and control. Maybe your own mind. We're not doing this out of a domineering and controlling energy. Remember, we don't have to logically push this. We're just going to imagine it, believe that, oh, that could happen. I accept the challenge to respect the individuality of others. I recognize this moment of change, welcoming my commitment to give genuine service to others and real empowerment through empowering others. So just write down, I want you to we've just moved into a different room here. We're just having another look. Can you see that? One, we're not going to dominate ourselves, and we don't have to necessarily dominate anyone else to create something. So I want you to just have a little feel into that. And also, there is proof to say, and in the whole metaphysical world, they tell us this, and it's absolutely true. If your goal is service-based, if what you're trying to achieve is for the highest good of all, it's more likely you're going to get help to do it. If it's a little bit about yourself, you just want to renovate the kitchen, yeah, that's great, but is it really going to serve everyone? Yeah, you might feel a bit better having people over. The bigger the vision, the more likely you're going to get the lift. So just for that reason, just write down, I don't know, 3 or 4 points as to why your vision is going to serve the greater good. How will it serve the greater good? Let's just link it now. So beyond you know, making a bit of dough or feeling at ease about your finances, what is this going to do? And then we can get a lift. And then let's just quickly do a sweep on that and just do a tapping on that for me. I'm breathing in and breathing out. And just letting go that you don't have to dominate the vision, you don't have to dominate other people. If it's right, it's going to come in. So that's how you believe at that level too. If it's the right thing to happen, it will happen, as long as you back it up with the other steps. Okay, so I now choose. And then say your goal, self-expression, awaken self-expression. I accept and retain the benefits of this balance. And if you want to read the screen, I now know and believe. And then say what your vision is. And if you can just write down just a couple of sentences what it is, like, believe that I can change the lives of, this many people through my coaching. I believe that I can be an amazing leader and lead this company into profit, whatever it is. I believe I can change the way the world deals with food, and they'll look back at this time and they'll see that I was part of that. Okay, and I think that might be the last slide. That is the last slide. Okay, so any questions, guys? Any questions on that? 4 minutes over. I'm not doing too badly. A few little chats. Anybody got any questions on that? No. So the next step will be acceptance, and that will be on Monday and Sunday. If you're in the States, you must accept yourself. So this is often come in. By the way, I'm doing this at, you guys, I'm not pre-doing this. I'm doing this either on the day or the day before. So this is fresh stuff coming through based on who's sort of arriving. So, it probably will be self-love. It's usually about self-love, but I kind of use my skills here with the kinesiology to bring out what are we doing. So it's freshly downloaded, this program. So usually acceptance is about self-love, but let's see what comes out. Okay, guys, thank you very much for coming. Appreciate you being here. I hope you got a lot out of it, and feel free to come and take the weekend, or not the weekend if you're in Australia. Thank you for coming.